The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Some interesting new information about how the deal to bring Conor Chaplin to Fratton Park was set up in the first place.
It turns out Chaplin was the driving force behind his surprise move back to Pompey as the transfer window drew to a close. He was keen for more playing time and jumped at the chance to return to his old stomping grounds, with McKenna giving his blessing. There's a catch though. Ipswich can recall him in January, and while his contract runs out next summer, word is they've got the option to extend it by another year. McKenna's made it clear he thinks Chaplin's Ipswich story isn't over yet. He's one of the best I've worked with. Speaking on Town TV, McKenna didn't hold back his praise. Conor's just exceptional, as a player and a person. I've never worked with anyone quite like him, and I've got nothing but respect for the lad. We've been talking all summer, having really honest conversations about what's best for him versus what we need. That's the kind of relationship we have. When this chance came up over the weekend to head back to his hometown club on loan, we had to consider it. He didn't start many games last season, just 11, and then got injured for a few months. At his age, you can't afford to spend too long on the bench. We talked it through properly. This move gives him a shot at regular football with a club close to his heart, where he can get back to scoring goals. It wasn't easy letting go of someone who brings so much to the dressing room, but when a player's that passionate about doing what's right for their career, you've got to listen. Both of us are hoping this isn't goodbye. There's definitely a way back here for him.
So that's really insightful, isn't it? This coming to Pompey business only started up about a week before the end of the transfer window, according to what we just heard on Talk, or whatever it is, TV, which is, Town TV. Sorry, not Talk TV, Town TV, which is the Ipswich streaming service. It seems that he came to Ipswich. He went to McKenna and said, you know what, I could be borrowed by Pompey. They're kind of interested. Now, who spoke to them on his behalf, or did he do it himself? Did he pick up the phone himself, or did he get his people to phone Pompey and say, might you be interested? Because I've been told by my new boss at Ipswich that I'm not going to be starting, and I want to start. I don't want to keep coming on with 15 minutes to go. And so the deal went from there. Brilliant. We got him. And it sounds as though he's doubly keen to come here because he set the whole thing up.
Pompey's Australian internationals, or at least players in the international squad, Adrian Sagachik and Hayden Matthews, flew all the way to Canberra and spent the whole of the 90 minutes against New Zealand on the bench. Australia won the game 1-0, with the winning goal coming in the 87th minute, having spent the whole of the game with a 5-man back line. A mere 20,000 fans were scattered around the GIO Stadium in Canberra for what many regard as a complete non-event. Pompey's Luke Leroux flew to Lesotho in Africa to watch his home country South Africa win 3-0 in a game he spent entirely on the bench. Terry Devlin's Northern Ireland kick-off against Germany on Sunday evening, whether or not he makes the bench or starts remains to be seen at this moment in time. And Mackenzie Kirk may or may not have featured in Scotland under-19's home defeat to the mighty Kazakhstan under-19s. The information is, at this moment in time, is simply not available.
Nothing hugely wrong with international football. It's just that it needs to be better organised so that it doesn't waste our time, waste our players' time, and take valuable club football away from us for nonsense like we've enjoyed this weekend. And this is pure opinion. That game against Andorra was a disgrace. You've got Scotland's under-19s presumably featuring somehow or other our new young acquisition from Scotland, Kirk, and nobody's reporting it because it's that irrelevant, apart from a few mums and dads who went along, a bit like, a junior football game. No one cared. No one was there. And the Australia versus New Zealand game, which is some entirely artificial rivalry, created no doubt because Australia are now no longer the Socceroos, they are the CommBank Socceroos, and CommBank, they want their profile for their dollar. So this is what's going on. Now, if any of these guys come back in any way less than 100% for this big game that we've got coming up on Sunday, or because of this international break nonsense, then we really ought to start a campaign going. And I think fans up and down the country would join in. for the international break thing to be really sorted out. They come and they come and they come, and they more and more. We didn't used to have them in the way that we do now. That's because there are so many competitions with the World Cup and the World Club Cup and the European tournaments and the Asia Cups and the flying halfway around the world for some kind of a friendly is bonkers, beyond bonkers. Come on, everybody.
Josh Murphy remains a Portsmouth player, and EFL analysis can exclusively reveal Pompey's potential plan to keep hold of him. The forward was the subject of interest from both Leicester City and West Bromwich Albion this summer, and our chief transfer correspondent Graham Bailey revealed it was West Brom who led the way in the battle for his signature. The arrival of former Pompey player Connor Chaplin on loan from Ipswich Town on deadline day sparked fanfears Murphy was leaving, but he remains at Fratton Park for the foreseeable. He has been a key cog for John Mousinho's side since he signed from Oxford United in the summer of 2024, and while the South Coast side are set on keeping hold of him, Bailey says Pompey will be making steps to ensure that can continue to be the case. EFL analysis. Bailey says Portsmouth did not want to sell the 30-year-old this summer. I suspect that Pompey will try and tie him down to a new deal, he says. I believe that's something they'll be looking to do. Bailey believes the Championship club will be concerned if they can't seal that deal in January. Let's see how he gets on this season, but it'll be one to keep an eye on, he continues. But I think Pompey will try and tie him down soon.
It certainly makes sense, doesn't it? And Pompey have extended the contracts of one or two members of the playing staff during John Mousinho's tenure here. And of course, we have to remember that part of the reason that Pompey have got very good at contracts may be because John Mousinho's original ambition before he managed to break into football was to be a corporate lawyer. And not many football managers have that kind of background to their range of ambitions. So John Mousinho functions very well when it comes to the bureaucracy, the red tape, the minutiae. God is in the details of a football contract. Now, will they offer Josh Murphy an extension to his contract, improve the money he's on now, and also offer him greater security, which becomes valuable to players with young families? Don't know what his situation is. That's entirely his business. But what we certainly know is that we want to keep him. We want to keep him through January, and we want to keep him next summer. In all probability, we'd like him to stay until he begins to wind down, because those 1, 2, 3 touches and then get the cross in always, well, no, not always, 90% of the time. Such a valuable piece of armoury, such a valuable weapon to have in your kit. And he provides it as well as anybody we've ever seen do it, I think. I would put it to you at Fratton Park, period. So, of course, we're going to hang on to Josh Murphy if we can. And it's prescient, if not particularly original, of the EFL, sports news agency, football news agency, to contact their expert analysis, Bailey. What's his first name again? Mustn't be rude. Bear with. Just reading the piece back again. Graham Bailey. It's not particularly original, and there's an interesting bit of journalism, just to bore you entirely with my reaction to this semi-non-story. It goes like this. It reads, EFL analysis can exclusively reveal Pompey's potential plan to keep hold of him. And now the word exclusive is a cherished phrase in journalism. It means that nobody else has this story. But of course nobody else has this story because, as they rightly point out 3 words later, it's Pompey's potential plan to keep hold of him. In other words, they've pieced together the possibility in their own minds that Pompey might be offering Josh Murphy an extended deal, an extended contract, and they're exclusively revealing what they think. But then it's a quiet time. It's an international football weekend, and we're all still really recovering from the sheer excitement of England versus Andorra, aren't we? Yes.
Gareth Evans has admitted he's jealous not to be in the Pompey squad to face Southampton next week. And the huge former Fratton favourite has given an intriguing prediction ahead of next Sunday's South Coast derby. Evans told the BBC, "I'm a little bit jealous not to be involved, but it's going to be a fantastic occasion. I know it's at St Mary's, but that was the importance for Pompey fans to stay in the Championship last season, because you're going to end up with games like that. Southampton were poor in the Premier League last season, it must be said. On the back of that, We're looking at a South Coast derby for the first time in a long time. It's something to look forward to and something to savour, and hopefully Pompey can pick up all 3 points. I would have absolutely loved to play against Southampton in the league, but unfortunately we were only able to get them in the cup that one time. It was a little bit of one-way traffic in that game, and I think I only came on for the last 10 or 15 minutes. If I had the opportunity to be involved next Sunday, I'd bite someone's hand off. That's not the case, unfortunately. I've hung my boots up now. The advice I'd give to every Pompey fan and Pompey player is just savour it and enjoy it, get behind the team, and pick up the desired result. There was quite a lot of press coverage around it, and it was live on Sky. There was obviously that extra bit of edge to a South Coast derby. It's one of the fiercest rivalries in English football. It's quite obvious there was an extra edge to it. When you'd been a part of the football club for as long as I had, I was trying to sort of portray to the rest of the lads in the rest of the dressing room how important the game was. I didn't really need to do that, to be honest, because you could feel the enormity at the time, and that was only for a League Cup game. If it's a championship game, I can imagine the heat is going to be turned up for it in the next week. I'll go for a 1-0 Pompey, Connor Chaplin of course.
I had a brief conversation with somebody who knows little about football about this upcoming derby, and they were trying to kebab me with the notion that players shouldn't be finding that little bit extra just because it's a local match. They should be giving 101% every single day of the week, especially on match days. And I left the conversation there because I didn't want to get involved, because my view began to form that this person not only didn't know very much about football, he didn't know very much about anything. Because it's only human to be able to pull out that little bit extra when it really matters. And sometimes you scarcely have to think about it. You just know that you're going to give it just that little bit extra. It's going to come from goodness knows where. Where does it come from, that little bit of extra that players will, even if they don't know anything about the derby? We've got a Hungarian in our squad who's going to be sat on the bench, but he knows about derby games. Because I was reading that his former club has a long-lasting rivalry with the other club, the bigger club. Oh gosh, the name's run out of my head. That's in the same city in Hungary. So he knows what it's about. He just doesn't know the ins and outs of it and the history of it, but he will know. The players will all know. They're thinking about it now. At whatever time you're listening to this, the players, almost all of the players, are having it jump into their mind. Whether they're doing the washing up or whether it's they're walking the dog, it pops into their mind. But on Sunday at 12 o'clock, it happens. Whether you're lucky enough to be one of the 11 that's on the pitch starting the game, or whether you're on the bench, or even if you're just a spectator. As a Pompey staffer, a player, maybe a backroom person, maybe one of the coaching staff, or all of the coaching staff, they'll know that there's something special there. It will have begun to imbue John Messino, for whom the Pompey versus Southampton rivalry is something that he's had to gradually learn about, understand, absorb, and then reflect it back for the fans who want to hear about the importance of this particular game. And when Evans is saying that one of the reasons we wanted to stay in the Championship last season, it's not the main reason, of course, but one of the things that was there was that with Southampton looking doomed, we knew that if we stayed in the Championship, we'd get this. We'd get what we're getting on Sunday. And whatever day of the week or time of the day is that you're listening to this, we are starting to look forward to it, aren't we? Whether we're going to be there or whether we're going to be watching it on big screens or little screens or listening to it in audio form on the radio or whatever. It's huge. And how nice it is that an ex-player still feels it. It's hard for ex-players when they have to begin to wind down a little bit. There's a film called Moneyball, which you may have heard of, which Pompey, I believe, base their economic plans on, which is finding players who are better than the market judges them to be, and therefore they can be picked up at a decent price. And the guy who is the coach in Moneyball, I think he's played by Brad Pitt, and the guy's name is Billy Bean, I think. He himself becomes an adherent to this policy of buying players which are described as broken toys. And the funny thing is, I've heard Rich Hughes actually say that they're on the lookout for what he calls broken toys. So it's obvious that they've seen the film and that they've seen something in it. But there's a great quote in the film by an ex-baseball player who says, "There comes a time when all of us learns that we have to give up the game." The child's game, he calls it. For some it happens at 18. For others it doesn't happen until they're 40. But it happens to all of us. And it's not an easy pill to swallow. One can only hope that Evans is going to find some additional enjoyment in the derby that's coming up to compensate for the fact that he's not going to be running out there. Wouldn't it be great to love your job as much as they obviously do, these professionals? But we love being fans as well, and we've got it all to look forward to as well. So come on, Pompey, let them bring it on, let them try.